Hello everybody, and welcome back to more Kerbal Space Program. We have an exciting episode, but first we need to finish our current mission, right? So I've decided, instead of going all the way up and around like I was going to, it was going to take like 400 years or something stupid. It would have taken me a very long time to do that, and I think by the time I got halfway through, it would have physicsed out and just threw me outside of the galaxy anyway, so a terrible idea. However, we got to this point where I just decided to bring this back in, and as you see, I still have plenty of fuel, so not too concerned about that. So I'm going to bring it in. I'm not getting an encounter with Kerbin, obviously, so I'm actually going to stop it probably, you know, just outside of where we're at, and then we'll flip it back around and we'll create kind of a circularized orbit within there, and then we'll line up an approach. So that's what we're gonna do. We have a lot of mods that we installed recently, and I'm going to show you guys all of that once we get this to Kerbin, and it's going to be super exciting and fun, and I live streamed a lot of it yesterday. I'll put a link in the description of the VOD for the live stream on Twitch, so if you're really interested in Kerbal, you can go watch that live stream. It was a lot of fun. And it was a lot of screwing around with mods that I had no idea what they did, and the ending was quite satisfying, I would say. Alright, so let's get this maneuver done, and we'll be right back. I guess while we're making this next maneuver, and getting this done, we can show you one of the mods, which is, oh, look, new engine effects. It's, hot rockets, or cool rockets, or something like that. There's two of them, and they're both called something like that, but, yeah, I'm using those as a really, it's a nice effect. There's a lot more little graphical things. I can't wait to show you guys. It's going to be really freaking sweet. But you can already tell, you know, there's a few, I mean, some of these are low texture, like the orange thing. That's because I'm using the texture reducer on some of the normal objects. However, you see like a new texture there for the SAS. You can see a new texture for that decoupler. There's just a little stuff here and there, you know, new texture for the landing gear, and it's gonna be sweet when I get to show you the rest of the stuff. Okay, so here's the fun part, right? We're going to speed up time. Now, we are on a larger orbit than what Kerbin is in, rather. So we are moving faster. Not much faster, but we are moving faster. So our idea is to catch Kerbin. We could have slowed down. We could have gone on an inside orbit, like between Kerbin and Eve, within these lines here. But then we would have had Kerbin catch us, and then we would have to prograde. In order not to go through the whole process of burning way more fuel than I need to, as you see, my nuclear engines are almost done, but I do have the fuel on that, so that'll help out a lot. What we're gonna do is we're just pretty much gonna go round until we get either caught up or have Kerbin catch us. Right, so this is our apoapsis, so this is, you know, the slowest that we're moving at any given time. And as you see, Kerbin is still behind us, so we're just gonna keep going round until we get to the point where it looks like it's either catching up or we're catching up with it. This isn't the most efficient way to do this, but it is a way. This is like a large-scale version of how you catch up with objects that you're going to dock with that are in orbit. So the whole goal of what we're going to do is keep going until we feel like we're satisfied with where Kerbin's at, and then we're going to set up a node and burn for it. So that's the idea, that's what we're doing, and this is just going to keep going round, so I may as well show you some of the graphical mods that have been installed, right? So I did an entire pack. When I have a complete list of mods that I'm satisfied with, I'll put that like in one of the descriptions. It probably won't be anytime soon because I'm still installing and uninstalling mods and trying them out and seeing what there is. So it'll be interesting to see what I end up with. But let's check out some of them. So let's check out what Duna looks like. So as you see, pretty normal, right? There's like all of a sudden like a little green thing on the top which shows the poles, but pretty normal from what we remember. So nothing too crazy there. However, Eve should Go, I just... Okay, well, I went to our lander. That's fine. Our other ship is just floating around in space anyways. We'll see how the probe is doing. Probe is doing fine. Eve looks normal on the surface. That's not the point I'm getting at. What I wanted to do... We'll just go back to the Space Center and do this. How about that? That'll help out a lot. I wanted to show you guys, you know, all of the different planets in the system now because they look different than what they did to begin with. Come on, thank you. Okay, it worked this time. So Eve is kind of pinkish on the outside, but it looks really cool. And I really like the look of that. Its moon, which we've probably, I think I've only seen once. It's going to be our next major target. Looks like a piece of popcorn. I like it. And then we have all the way out. We have Moho, which we've looked at before. We haven't gone to yet, though. And looks like a giant asteroid, which is about right. It's pretty freaking hard to land on because it's got really low gravity. I guess I'm okay with that, though. It's a challenge. I like a challenge. It looks like a dress. Boom. I really like the look of this one, actually. It's got a unique look, in my opinion, at least. And then we have Jewel, which we've been to, and all that fun stuff. So that's what Jewel looks like. A little different than last time, just a little. And let's look at its moons, which we haven't really given too much exploring with, but this is a really annoying planet to land on because you gotta not land in the water. It's a moon, but I mean, it's got water on it. Let's look at Vol. Looks just like an ice rock. Yeah, that's about right. And then we have Tylo, another one of its many moons. That is an easy one to land on. Your typical moon. Bop. Nice and tiny. Again, another like popcorn kernel style. And then finally we have Pole. I don't know. That one looks cool. I like the look of that. So, now that we've seen that, let's look at our destination target, which is the last one. Come here, Elo. Yeah, we're coming to you, Elo. We're coming. I really like the look of that. So some of them look slightly different, others completely. And it's just an entire mod that I'm using. So, for instance, if we actually went back to our probe and flew it, we can see that the Kerbals in the corner... Oh, that's right. We're not running Kerbals on this one. They would look different, though. My point is, it would look different. Okay, I'm going to finish off doing my maneuver here because this is going to take a while. And then we'll finally land and get all of these delicious science points. There we go. That's the maneuver we want. And we're going to do it off over here. So we still have, 300 days before we're even there. But it'll get us pretty close, and then we can fine adjust it and... go through the atmosphere, which will slow us down significantly, and then we can land and get all of these delicious science points, but we still have quite a ways to wait. Now, during that time where I was just kind of floating, I was going around and I'm looking, throughout the entire thing. I'm constantly making maneuver notes to see if we can get a good one like this, but this is pretty much perfect. We slow down a little bit, we're not using too much, and we go right into it's like a perfect encounter to go right in. You don't want to have a crazy angle because then it makes actually landing on the planet a lot more difficult. This will mean that I can adjust and fine adjust a lot closer and do it that way. So we'll get this maneuver done, we'll get super close to Kerbin, and then we will land. And there we go. We are at 82,000 meters. It's drifting a bit, but it's about that. So that's about as close as I'm going to get, honestly. Let us speed up the time, and we'll land. Now, that's pretty much the best that I can ask for. When we get a little closer, I'm going to ditch these engines I currently have, switch to the main probe engine, get it a little closer. We actually want to get into the atmosphere, so it's slowing us down, but we want a gentle curve, just so we don't rip anything off. You never know what it's going to be like on re-entry. You don't want to explode and everything, so that is also why we typically quick save right before we do. Oop. Whew, that got kind of dicey there. It shows that we're actually going to hit Kerbin. And you know what? That may not be a bad thing. Okay, let's quick save like usual. We're going to get a little closer. In fact, we're gonna kind of see what this is like once we get a little closer. Yeah, I mean, that should be good enough, right? It's just a probe. We're kind of coming straight on, but for the most part, we should slow down quite a bit. What I could do is pretty much just do this. So I'll create a node real quick. Whoa, there we go. And we'll pull it off this way a little bit and prograde a little bit. Oh, that's just way too much. That is way too much. What if I did this? Just pulled it. What's that periapsis at? 47,000? That's not bad. What if we... just a little bit? I think that's a much better re-entry angle, so let's do this. We will bring it up over here, like so. And it says we'll do it in 6 minutes, but you know what? Damn it, we're doing it now. Because I don't think it'll make too much of a difference. And as soon as we see a better entry point, I think we'll call it quits on the burn. Or at least maybe even a periapsis. And right there-ish. I'd say actually that's pretty dang close. That's a lot better than what it was. Alright, cool. Let's do it. We'll get the heck out of our map. Make sure nothing's ripped off. Nope. Okay, now we're going to retract some panels because we're coming back in for re-entry. You know, we don't really need this, and we probably should get rid of it now while we still have a chance. So let's pop and just kind of boost away a little bit. There we go. And that actually gave us a periapsis. But you know what? At least we're away from that thing. So we have our probe out. Our awesome looking probe, might I add. We still have lights on it? We do. Yeah, it's looking quite cool. Okay. Let's do this thing. So let's zoom out and let's speed up time a little bit. You know, my quick save. Always quick save before re-entry. Or in a safe place before re-entry, like when we came back into the system. Oh, you'll notice Kerbin looks a little different too. I'm not sure about the texture on it. It's very blue. But I may end up changing it. I do like it though, but I may end up changing it regardless. A little bit more. All right, and that looks about right. Let's get out of here. Let's watch it come towards us quite rapidly as we just like chug to a halt. Okay, now this is technically the hard part, but it's not going to be that difficult really, because we're just gonna point ourselves this way. We're gonna come in. Looks like we're gonna land on land, which is fine. I don't think it was gonna make too much of a difference whether we landed on land or in the water. But let's see how effective this is gonna be at actually not blowing up. A little bit more. I also added like clouds and stuff too, so I don't know how I feel about the clouds. On launch, they really kill the frame rate. So I may remove those. They do look cool. From a distance, they're like a flat texture, but once you actually get close to them, they are a volumetric fog, which is pretty cool looking. Alright, this is slowing us down rapidly, which is what we wanted. As soon as we're down with that, we'll hit our parachutes. I do like the angle we're coming in at here, by the way. It's a lot better than our previous one, which was like straight into Kerbin. I was considering also getting the deadly re-entry mod, but I don't know. I don't think that's a little too advanced for my taste. I don't want to have to worry about that. I just want to come in like I am with my awesome ships and do it that way. Because at the end of the day, if you're not having fun, then what's the point of playing Kerbal? This is like the game to have fun with. We're super close to being able to pull our chutes. Let's do it now. Oof, and there goes the frame rate. Yeah, I'm going to have to adjust the cloud thing. I got to get rid of them. They are killing the frame rate. But they do look pretty when you're up close to them, I suppose. But the rest of the game doesn't look too pretty, to be perfectly honest, because of the fact that it has to, you know, render everything down. If I look straight down, I gain like 10 frames per second, but it's the second I look at them, it's just like lose everything. Okay, let's put our gear out. Whoops, that's not our gear. Those are our lights. Gear out. Okay, looking good, gear. Everything's going according to plan.